Hi, I'm Julian, and this is the WLB podcast.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the WLB podcast. Today, we have with us Shagun Bhansali, the face behind MissPiggyBanks, which aims to create awareness on finance. It's a wonderful page on Instagram. I think its tagline itself is Money Made Simple, right? So do check out all of their posts. I personally have been binge reading and watching all of their videos, and we have with as a creator herself. I mean, every post is so full of great information. Like it breaks down seemingly complex concepts of finance, how to invest right, what are the rules that our generation should be aware of. I mean, it's truly a pleasure to be able to connect with you on Instagram, Shagun. Thank you for joining us for today's episode.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
So, could you introduce yourself to the listeners first? Like, could you tell us what you do and your journey so far?
This actually started. Was never into finance. I need to make that. I need to be honest about it. I used to shy away from finance. I hated the subject. In fact, when I used to have my run my own company, I'm a PR professional actually. When I used to run
Mhm.
my own company, my dad always used to tell me that you are not, you don't know where your money is going. You're just like earning this money and you're not doing anything with it. So, I mean, you should at least learn basic accounts, learn basics. But I used to always find it very overwhelming as a subject,
Mhm.
finance. It was too heavy on jargons, and it was, it was very, for me, it was very difficult to sort of even get my head around it. So anyway, he used to help me a lot with finance. Actually, he used to do most of it for me for my company, and even my personal investments. But I think during this lockdown, I wanted to figure out a way that how can this be possible of making finance as a subject easy for women. Even when I spoke to a couple of my friends, we also did a couple of surveys and things like that, and realized that women really shy away from finance. Um, Either they have their husbands or their fathers who are investing their money for them or handling, the everyday money. They don't know where their
Mhm.
money is going. Sometimes at the end of the month, you're like, listen, I didn't go out anywhere. Where did I spend this money? Like, where did my whole salary go? So,
Mhm.
that was something I realized that maybe people need to have that kind of awareness, and I've started
Mhm.
this Instagram page actually for as an educational platform to just make finance simple. So I started using beauty
Mhm.
products and comparing them to investments, or I started using coffee and makeup as different examples of how I could give, how I could sort of link investments concepts, to everyday surroundings of ours. And the page kind of took off, and there was a lot of people actually started, DMing me on Instagram saying that, do you have any financial advisors we can get in touch with?
Mhm.
Can you help us with finance? So I am not I don't have a degree in finance, so I'm not eligible to give financial advice. Hence I
Mhm.
made sure that I got whoever, I had a couple of friends who were into finance that time, so I send them their numbers, and people got connected, and it really helped. I realized there's a gap, in the market, and there has to be something that we can do to connect, especially women, and to make finance easy as a subject, not especially for women. And that's
Mhm.
how Miss Piggy Banks came out to be. We now have a website which is a user centric, predominantly for women financial platform, where we connect our users to thoroughly vetted and curated financial experts from all different fields. So it could be, if you wanted somebody from mutual funds, you can have that, investment advice, insurance, anything under the sun. These are the
Mhm.
people that you can connect with. And it's
Mhm.
just a very simple type form that you have. Like, you go onto their bio, you click, you send them a quick message, and they will connect with you.
Hmm. Amazing. That's Thank you for sharing that summary. I was just going through all of those experts that you have curated. I think that's one of the hurdles that you always have. Like we don't know whom to reach out to, and there are there are a lot of channels on YouTube that claim to help you do that, but everybody it's like just talks about the best principles to do that. And
Right,
at the end of the day, you're still in doubt. Like, should I ask my husband what is the best way to do this? You are
right,
still in doubt. That's
right.
amazing. So,
We actually did have a problem, even reaching out to these specific women financial advisors because there were such few of them out there. Most of them were
mm,
men. I wanted to make sure that the page had predominantly women. I had to have a couple of men as well on board to make sure that we covered all the aspects. But even reaching out to women, making sure that they're all thoroughly vetted, they have the relevant degrees, so even in the industry itself, they don't have as many women financial experts out there. So, that was one of the challenges that I faced that, even curating these people, and I realized that there is such a big gap in this market.
I understand.
Yeah,
I think I run this Women in Data Science, and every time we have a annual conference, we are running around trying to find those women. Where are the women? There are so many men speakers out there in technical
yeah,
field also. I think this is true about every single domain. But hats off on covering that. I think you've made the best use of your pandemic situation also. You've
thank
done
you.
a huge help. So, I think despite it being 2021, women are still dependent on their husbands, to make that final purchase decision. If it's a big purchase or if it's a big investment, they still have to consult or, have that dependency feel that. Do you think it's a lack of courage or is it the lack of information and awareness?
I think it's a lack of knowledge because a lot of people want to now start being independent in every field now. Even the women. I mean, I don't think like we're in 2021 right now, and everyone's taking their own decisions about everything. I just feel right now it's the lack of information and the lack of knowledge and the lack of tools that are there to help people get more financially independent, especially women. I'm seeing that so many women who are reaching out to me right now, they're all in their mid 20s and early 30s. In fact, a lot of them are in their mid 20s, early 20s, and they want to take charge of their own finances. They just
Mm-hmm.
didn't know where to go. So, and
Mm-hmm.
that other challenge that they had is like, everyone thought that there's a misconception that you need a large amount of money to start your investment process. But that is not true. So today, if you are a salaried person and say you've saved about 50 or 80,000 rupees, over a couple of months, and you've saved that and you want to start investing, when we did our survey, we even realized, and even talking normally to people, like, oh, I haven't started investing because I don't think I have enough of money to invest. So I need to make sure that I have enough. But
Mm-hmm.
the reality is that you need only 500 or 1,000 rupees a month to start your basic mutual like
Mm-hmm.
SIP journey. So it is just a 500 or 1,000 rupees that you require. And that when people started getting to know that, like when even young girls started getting to know that, so many of them have, reached out via our website and actually have started their financial journey.
That's amazing.
I thought
So
that
I think
one is lack of knowledge about what all is required, and
mm,
the lack of accessibility. Those were the two things.
by lack of accessibility, what do you mean by that?
Financial experts. Like where do you
Oh,
go? Like if I don't have my father or my husband or my brother,
mm,
where do I go?
mm,
Like today, if I'm a working woman, living in Mumbai alone, I don't know anybody. My family is back home. I'm trying to figure out my life on my own. I don't know which expert to go to. How do I know if
mm,
they're the right people? How do I know if they have their degrees? How do I know if this is the correct strategy to go for? So that
mm,
information people didn't have, and the internet has just too much information for people to absorb. It's not
got it.
possible. So
I know.
this is what I thought that people did not understand. They did not have the accessibility to good financial advisors, especially like even who they can trust blindly, or a platform that tells them, okay, we've done your homework. This is
Mm,
these are the correct ones. They have all their certificates, all their degrees. They're not going to run away with your money. So that
mm,
kind of stuff was that was required.
mm. I know that trust is that it's very crucial, and I think your website does clearly mention that you've done the hard work of figuring out their entire background, finding,
Yes.
making sure that they are the best experts out there. So,
Yeah.
is there a certain like does the person, like, I didn't see any sign up button, like do I have to make a profile in with you and give processing fees, like for our listeners out there, if they were to come on to Miss Piggy Banks, could you just tell us the
The
process?
process, so the process is nothing. You don't have, there is no sign up, there is no fees, nothing. Uh, what all the user needs to do is you need to go select we have a bank of advisors and we will keep adding more every month. All you need to do is go select, we an advisor that you think would be the right fit for you. We've got like basic questions, we've got their expertise, the fee range, everything mentioned on each one of their bios, basis what you think you like, or basis that there is a small little type form that you have on the website on each one of their profiles. You just need to
Mm,
click on that. It's literally an under a minute process. You put in your name, your email address, and a small quick message about your financial situation or what you expect from them as a service. Send that out to them and then they will get in touch with you. That's all that's required. And you can reach out to as many as you want. It's absolutely free. And you can then take it once everyone replies, or you can take an informed decision about who is the advisor that you would like to go ahead with, because this is about money, about big money that you're playing with. Even for somebody, 50, 80,000 is a huge amount of money. And
mm,
you definitely want to give it to somebody who you trust.
got it. So currently, I think a lot of youngsters, like you mentioned, so one of the reasons I think youngsters have a lot of money with them is because of the boom of these different professions like YouTubing and freelancing, and there's Instagram profile management. That's a job. So you have like young teens making a lot of money and they don't know what to do with it, like do you think they understand what it takes to build generational wealth, and or is there or have you seen a trend in terms of the responses that you've gotten, that they are becoming a little bit more wiser in their choices, or is it just superficial?
Uh, no, I actually think that they've become a lot wiser, because I was definitely not that wise at 22 or 23. I did not know the difference between these different mutual funds or anything like that. So there are different categories of people who actually reach out. Some of them
Mm-hmm.
don't know where to start, what to do, how to get into the journey. All they know is that investing is good, it's going to make me money. So how do I start it? That is one category of people. The
Mm-hmm.
second is that they know just about enough, but not enough to make that decision of actually buying the fund or investing in it or anything. So that's the sometimes they want to know, is a mutual fund better, or should we put it in that, or should we put it in an ETF, for example? Which one is better? What are the pros and cons? They have about basic knowledge, but not enough to see it. So there are two kinds, but they are a lot more. There are a lot of people who are a lot more aware at a very young age, which is, I think, great. And they are young girls. Honestly, like people who I get usually are between 20 to 25, 28.
That's amazing. But I think so. I did see like Finance 101 sections on your charts, and there are a lot of these posts as well. Uh, I think like do you have workshops with students, or is that a
So
part of?
So we actually are just curating one for the next week, in fact, as we speak.
Wow.
It's going to be on just the basics of financial planning.
Mhm.
I actually hadn't started marketing it yet, but we are looking to do this soon. The first few will be free for people to join in, because I would like people to get aware about what the nitty gritties are about finance. And
Mhm.
yes, we will be having these workshops, these group discussions, as and when in the near future.
That's amazing. So I think there are apps that definitely that help us. Like there's Basis, and I think there's Stack Finance also that's coming up. That's planning to become India's for the young generation of India, at least be that financial advisor. But there there are like I think nobody's done this curation part about like how to actually reach out to real human beings who can help you instead of just talk to machines and apps.
Robo advisors. So that's I. There are tons of apps for robo advisors right now. But sometimes I just feel like you still need that. You're still playing with your money, right? You still need that human touch at some point, that human decision making process. I still think at some point you need that. Although I think because of these robo advisors, because of these websites like Small Case and Zerodha, they've made small time investing accessible to millions of people,
Mhm.
with very little money, with basic knowledge. If you can definitely use these apps, and they're great. But I sometimes feel that it's still a machine. At the end of the day, you sometimes still need a human touch to help you plan your finances uh,
Mhm.
better.
Got it, got it. So, these advices, were they all your friends, or did you reach out to them on a professional basis? Like, how was that process?
So I started out with, asking a couple of friends, because initially I wanted to have only women on the platform. So the ones who actually I had like just one or two friends of mine who were women and into finance, but the rest, most of them were, guys. But I reached out a lot via word of mouth, but most of them I found via LinkedIn, via
Mhm.
word, like via references. But then once I
Mhm.
did that, I had to do a thorough background check. So there were some people who I actually had to say no to because they didn't have the relevant degrees. And the
Mhm.
ones I had, we made sure we had all their certifications, all their degrees in place and everything.
Mhm. Nice. So talking about old school, like I think our the one that you mentioned, like I just recently seen Scam 1992. So back in the days, we needed human beings to actually buy stocks for us, and now it's like everybody has a trading account, and I can directly
Yeah,
buy funds on this thing. So that's maybe we don't realize as a generation how easier it has become for us to invest.
it has, especially as like I mentioned earlier, these websites have made it so simple for you to invest. It's literally a click of a button. But I think you need to have a little more advanced knowledge to be on to to get onto these websites and make those purchases. The audience probably that I cater to may not have that, and that's why I think you need that human element of how
Mhm.
do I start, where do I start, what do I
Mhm.
invest. So I think although it's become very simple for everybody to invest,
Mhm.
you can lose a lot of money too if you don't know what you're doing.
Mhm. Mhm.
Everything is automated, yes, but it's not. You still have to be very aware. You still have to be very well read as to, okay, I want to buy this.
Yeah.
Buying it, that process of buying it has become easy, but the research
Mhm.
that you have to do, the homework that you have to do, I think that
Mhm.
still stays, whether you're doing
Mhm.
it via a robo advisor like an app, or whether you're doing it via human advisor.
Got it. Is there any recommendation that you would do, like on a personal basis? Do you read the Economic Times daily, or what do you go to?
So I like now, since recently I have been staying abreast with all the news because I need to do that. But I think it's mainly via these different Bloomberg is one of what I refer to the most. I read up. And there are a lot of these different websites also that give you 1 minute news in your inbox. They're not there's FinShots, then there is something called Finimize. Those really help make your financial news super easy. It comes into your inbox every morning and gives
Mhm.
you like the three top news of the world. I think I keep myself a very updated. You reading those. That information, it's very simple to understand. It conveys the point. And
Mm-hmm.
of course, I mean, whatever else on Economic Times and the
Mm-hmm.
other regular finance
Mm-hmm.
websites.
Nice. So, you mentioned that this was launched during the lockdown period, right? This entire page on Instagram. So,
Yeah.
how long did you have to like? Did you decide on a date specifically to launch this, or was it a gradual thing that you did on the side? When you did?
It was kind of it was kind of gradual. I mean, I just decided one day, listen, I think I want to do this. I started researching on, maybe, how should I start the page, what should I do. I started
Mm-hmm.
making a logo. I started like discussing basic ideas as to what will be a fun element to help launch the page. When I
Mm-hmm.
launched, actually, I did a quick A to Z on different financial terms. So every day I post one term with a letter. So A was asset, B was, I think,
Mm-hmm.
balance sheet or something like that. Like that, I went from A to Z. That
Mm-hmm.
when the viewers started coming in, I knew that everybody didn't know anything about finance. This was a great way to get people, into understanding just the absolute basics before deep diving into like mutual funds and bonds and exchange
Mm-hmm.
traded funds and all of that. So yeah.
That's amazing. I think just reading Instagram, like I think we all spend a lot of time on Instagram, way more than needed. But that
Yeah.
itself, you made like following your account makes it a little time spent wisely.
Yeah. But I
So,
think I'm trying to make it as light as possible, because I know Instagram is something that you're just mindlessly scrolling through. I try to make it as the information on it as easy a read as possible. However, certain financial terms stay difficult, and there's nothing. I try to break it down as much as possible.
that's amazing. So, do you have a team to help you with the graphics and the research?
So right now I pretty much do it all. Right from curating I'm doing making the website. I have a couple of graphic designers who I irrespective work with for like my other projects. But I think a lot of this I have still done myself. Now that
Mm-hmm.
there are enough tools to make that happen as well. So I pretty much do everything myself as of now. We're looking to build a team once this grows now.
Amazing. That's great. Like I think you yourself have to like learn and read so much.
Yeah.
So, would you recommend any books?
Sorry?
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying that reading, yes, because I think I also need to read, the same thing maybe 4 or 5 times on in different places to understand the concepts. Because understanding a concept is one thing, but breaking down a concept to make it easy is actually really difficult. To make something easy and foolproof is quite hard. It takes a very long time to make these complex terms, like using fun examples, like using
Mm-hmm.
pizza slice to talk about equity, or to use makeup to understand what are the different kinds of investment tools that you have, like the Dyson hair dryer, for example, is an
Mm-hmm.
expensive tool. So that is like a bond. I mean, sorry, that is like a hedge fund, because hedge funds are expensive. So that thought process also takes a while to understand. That post takes a good amount of time to make.
Mm-hmm.
I have
I can
one.
see that, yeah. And there are like a lot of concepts like oink worthy. I saw a bunch of those as
Yeah,
well. Like beautiful concept. I think you've
thank
nailed
you.
it.
Thank you, thank you. I try to keep some stuff light in the middle, come up with some budget recipes for people to make, things that you can make under 50 rupees, under 100 rupees, and same thing will cost you 500 rupees outside. And that's when you
Mm-hmm.
realize that, my God, I'm spending so much money on peanut butter or Nutella. Like you said, spending 500 rupees on a jar outside when you can actually make it for like 100 rupees at home. And it's such a simple recipe. So I try to
I feel
find
guilty for
those kind of things. Sorry.
I feel guilty for having one in my cupboard now.
Yeah, I know we've all been there. So, but I guess now next time you can probably use that recipe that I have shared.
Yeah. So, like, what's behind the naming? Like, did you come up with this, or is there a story behind this name?
It was no, I just wanted to have a fun, girly name to the thing because it was, I wanted to target it towards women from day one, and
Mm-hmm.
piggy bank, which pretty much is like save all your money kind of thing. No, there
Mm-hmm.
was no real. It was just a couple of like a brainstorming session in my house with my family, and we came up with, yeah.
So that they are the perfect focus group to test out ideas.
Yeah, I mean, with that, it
So,
was.
do you voice is breaking? Hello, your voice is broke.
Yeah, can you hear me
Were you
now?
saying something?
No, no, I said that's
Yeah, it's
no.
better.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, like, do you still have the PR job and you're doing this on the side?
Yes, I still
Okay,
am a
how do you
full-time PR.
manage?
Yeah, it's a task. I am a full-time PR professional. I work at so I work at Edelman, which is a PR company in Bombay. And
Mhm.
yeah, but this is something that I love to do, and I do it, after hours. Once I'm done with work at
Wow.
around 8, 9 in the night, then that's when I make my posts and do everything for the next day. It's
Hmm.
hard, but I really like doing it, so I don't really feel the pressure.
That's amazing. That shows your dedication, like doing it after hours.
Yeah, thanks so much. No, I really think it's nice that I have this portal. The kind of messages that you get at the end of the day. A lot of people say thank you so much. This really helped me, and I love your
Mhm.
page, and I've learned so much from it. And I think those messages really make it all worthwhile.
That's true. So, like, how has social media been? Like, are you there on Facebook and YouTube as well, or are you planning to go there as well?
So I'm just on Instagram right now, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't Facebook. No, I'm not. I think it's mainly the Instagram page that is active, and not on YouTube or anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the
Like,
Instagram page and the website. That's it.
mhm. Like, do you find the analytics of social media for this something that's hard to follow, or is it? Are you taking it by the stride?
So I know basics of it because I've also done that in the past because my job also sort of makes you, it kind of, a lot of times we've had people who've had to do this for our clients as well. So I have a basic understanding of how it goes. But yes, this is something I would have had to outsource once I do consider going down the whole ad spends and Google Analytics route. I haven't
Mm-hmm.
started doing that yet. Whatever has been on this page or the lead generation has all been organic as of now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think once this starts taking off a bit,
Mm-hmm.
is when I will start investing some money in SEOs. And I think now is the time to do that because it actually has.
Yeah, it has a
Yeah.
great following already. That's nice. So, like, is there anyone in your family who helps you out with this? Like, do you, when you break it down into those examples, do you pitch it to your mom and dad first, or how does it go?
So actually, my aunt helps me a lot. She's my masi. She helps me a lot because she herself was a copywriter, and so I really used to take a lot of, like, is this written very well? Is this done well? What do you think? Should I change the copy? So that's
Mm-hmm.
what I have. She's my go-to person for this kind of advice, and my mom and
Mm-hmm.
dad are like my biggest cheerleaders. So like they will always be like, "Oh wow, you got featured here! Oh, this one liked your post. So that's very nice." So they're like
Mm-hmm.
my cheerleaders. Yeah.
God bless. That's amazing. So, like, what has been one of your success stories? Like, has anybody come back to you and told that my balance sheet has changed because of so and so financial advisor helped me out? Has anybody reached out back to you?
The thing is, it's actually too nascent. We've just launched the website like end of March, like beginning May is, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
sorry, end of March, beginning April is when it actually went live. So it's not even been a month, but we've had almost,
Oh.
I think, about 40 to 50 people reach out to these advisors, different people reach out to different advisors, even via DMs, even via them asking me for their numbers and calling. So even that kind of lead generation is there. So a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people have actually inquired and reached out, and some of them have actually started, their journey. And I think something like investing is a long-term process. It doesn't show results overnight. So I think I would have to wait for maybe at least 2 to 3 months for someone to come and tell me something like this. And I'm hoping that.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I'll have my next when I have my next interview. Definitely, we should have.
Yeah,
You'll be having more, I guess.
I
So
hope so.
that
Trust.
have you earlier I was trying to ask like is there any specific book that you would recommend to our listeners? Like there are people who would recommend Origin of Wealth, and that's one book that I've not finished reading past the
Right.
second chapter. Thanks to the way it's
So
written. It's an
there
amazing
are
book. No,
I actually haven't. I need to still read that one. I haven't read it yet. But there are a lot of books that I talk about on my page itself. Like there are different books for like if you're starting out, or for
Mhm,
millennials, or if you're seasoned investors or something like that. But there's one
mhm,
that I think pretty much everybody recommends, which is Rich Dad Poor Dad,
mhm,
which is I think one of a great book to read. Apart
mhm,
from that, this is apart from finance, but it also helps you a lot. There's another one called Tribe of the Mentors. Tools of the
mhm,
Titans and Tribe of the Mentors. Those are books which are have small snippets of famous people who are
mhm,
interviewed, and they also give like there are also questions in that that said if you have $100, where are you going to
mhm,
spend it on? What is that one purchase that you will make with something like $100? And the answers, if you read them, you'll realize that they're so inspiring. Like I think that's something that everybody should learn from, and that's a book. I think those two books are something that everybody should read. Those are great reads.
amazing. I'll definitely check that out. I haven't read that.
It's
Thanks
called
for
Tales of
suggesting.
the Titans and Tribes of the Mentors. They're two. They're like sequels. I mean, back
Okay,
like there are two books by the same author. Yeah,
got it.
yeah.
That's amazing. So, like, I wanted to just quickly understand: is there any other like competitor out there? Are you looking for competitors out there, or is it a space where everybody's the more awareness, the better?
So there's nobody right now who's doing the whole financial platform for women. There is no other website, at least that I have come across, that are curating, financial experts and
I
connecting
would
them
say.
to users. But I think there are definitely a couple of people in the finance space, or like who are finance bloggers, who are on
Mhm,
Instagram. But everybody kind of does different content. Some people, talk about, you know. Advanced finance, some people talk about money in general, some people talk about just budgeting. So yes, there are lots of people who are talking about finance, but everybody I guess has their own different style.
mm-hmm. That's nice. So, who are your role models, like in terms of the in the financial domain? If there was a specific woman that you look up to.
So I'll tell you what, I was never really from the finance space. The reason why I started this was because nothing about finance was ever inspiring me. Like, I mean, okay, that's actually, it was not, I never liked anything to do with it. I never liked reading the economic times. I never liked doing any of this. My job here was to make sure that I wanted to just make an easy portal and
Mm-hmm.
accessible for financial for people to get financial advice. So that was my
Mm-hmm.
whole aim behind this. I am not some finance expert that I could even consider that I mean that I think that okay, this person actually makes sense, or this person's strategy, or the way to talk about finance works, because I still maybe don't know that. My job
Mm-hmm.
is to just make this portal, whatever information is out there, to make that easy. Like that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Got it. I think it's actually required because the way we are scared about this is mostly because we are not aware about this. I think none of our schools or curriculums in our colleges,
Yeah.
even our master's degrees, don't teach you how to handle your finances once you're,
Yeah.
once you finally started your company or gotten your
Yeah.
dream job. What do you do
Yeah.
with that?
Right.
So,
So that's what I'm saying, that because, and also my field, like PR, public relations, doesn't have anything to do with finance. We are more media, it's a creative field rather than a, more technical, or that kind of field. So for us, for me, finance was very far away. It was a
mm,
very, like, but because I had my own business, I had to sort of learn how to do it. But otherwise, for a
mm,
profession like me, we don't even sometimes require finance, because we have finance teams in our offices who handle this kind of stuff. So I've never needed to really do it, and that's why I wanted to make it that it has to be done, because I used to also be one of those people saying that, hey, it's the end of the month, where has all my money gone? I've not even really gone out anywhere. So that was pretty much the reason. That was the only reason that I started this, just to make it easy for people.
mm-hmm. I think Walnut app did help me. Like I started using that as soon as I started working. That was
Yeah.
some one of my personal favorites. Would do
Yeah.
you recommend anything else? Any other app to manage your budget?
So there are lots of them actually. There's Wally, which is a really good one. There's also another one called You Need a Budget. It's called YNAB. You Need a Budget. That's also really good that you could check out.
Nice, nice. I
Yeah.
think our listeners are gonna definitely have a lot of things to check out, and I'll have to mention all of these in the description.
Yeah.
Things that we have added, because I think so regardless, I'm from a technical field, and even me, we engineers also have no clue to what to what we should be
Yeah.
doing. Finance is anybody who understands finance, I respect them.
That's true. My husband's into it, and he's into finance. So I think a lot of it I got from him as well. Like, he used to be like, "Listen, you don't know anything. I mean, like, it's a little shameful. You need to learn how to do something somewhere." So I think I've also learned a lot from him. Talking to him every day also gets me to know a lot about what's happening in the industry, what's happening around the world. A lot of times I take advice from him also, in terms of, okay, listen, this post is fine. Like, does
Mhm.
it work? Is this correct? What I've written, the information. So I always
Mhm.
vet all the information that I put up, either via these financial advisors or via somebody who's in the finance field. I don't like just arbitrarily put it up, because there's a lot
That's
of misleading information also online. So I want to make sure that whatever I put out is correct information, because somebody may be using this.
mm-hmm. And to actually get it on an ease on a platform where people just spend time, you know, chilling. I think you're doing like that. That dedication is amazing because people's time is valuable, and you're actually validating your content before putting it out there. That's
Have
super.
to. This is, playing with people's money. It can't be wrong advice that you're putting out. That's something that I'm definitely very particular about, the kind of content that goes up. I don't just put out anything without verifying it.
Mm-hmm. So, if you were to tell me, like in the past, I think now it's been almost a year since you have been doing the Instagram.
Yeah.
So, like, what would be your, your biggest challenge if you were to name to keep this show running?
So the biggest challenge right now is actually trying to get more, trying to sort of just, I just need to probably expand a little bit now, get more people aware of the portal of this venture, because right now I was just restricting to my Instagram audience and, word of mouth. But I think now it
Mm,
started taking off, and because of that, I think I need to now start figuring strategies of how to reach out to a wider audience.
mhm,
What are the different things I can do to make the processes smoother for people to invest? Maybe have everything as a 360 degree. Everything is on this platform.
mhm,
Eventually,
mhm,
tech is something that I also will do struggle with, because as more and more people do come onto the platform, it is getting a little cumbersome for people to look through 12, 15, 20 profiles of advisors before actually making their decision.
mhm,
So I am going to be looking for, some kind of some kind of IT help to make sure that, we technology to make sure that we filter out basis
mhm,
your requirements. There will be a filtration process, there will be a matchmaking tool, or that will
mhm,
help you connect you with the advisors. So those
mhm,
kind of things are a challenge to me right now, because one, I need to understand about how all that works, and to
Mm-hmm.
finding the right people to do this. It is still a bootstrapped venture, so the monies
Mm-hmm.
are also quite high for these kind of technical plugins on the website.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think it's a challenge, and I'm sure that we'll figure out how to do this.
definitely. All challenges are exist because you can overcome them.
That's true.
Yeah. So normally if you were to try this out, like I don't think you should quit because you're actually helping a lot of youngsters understand something that's very important for them.
Yeah.
So do not ever think of quitting. But
Oh,
what
no.
is so how do you, have you found this to be hectic, or do you like? I think you mentioned you did do this in the late in the night. So do you?
It is a little hectic. It does get tiring, after like almost a 10-hour day at work. It does get tiring. But I love it. So it doesn't seem as
Mhm.
tiring or anything. And I actually like doing it. So I don't think that when I'm sitting and spending time on piggy banks, it doesn't make it seem like work.
Nice, nice. That's amazing. I think that's the entrepreneur in you. Since you've already started a company and you know what it means to, give 100%. That's
Yeah.
true. So I wanted to know so this is one thing that keeps coming up in terms of the youth. All of us want instant gratification, and I think one reason that's hindering people to invest in this is because you don't get instant returns. Every suggestion and every physical advice, financial advice is that think long term. Whatever money you get from the stocks, invest it back into it. uh, is there I understand how you mentioned there were if even if you have 500 rupees or 1,000 rupees a month, you can start an SIP, but you don't get returns from it immediately. What
Yeah.
would be your advice to women looking out for investment, how to get over that?
So the thing is, usually people invest for two reasons, and that's why everyone says that you need to make sure that you have your goals in mind. They have to be
Mhm.
short-term goals, and then there are long-term goals. So your short-term goals could be anything from planning for a vacation or buying a car, or
Mhm.
your long-term goals could be anything about maybe a down payment or buying a house, or your
Mhm.
kids' education, or something in the future. uh,
Mhm.
you are not going to get anything in 1 month's time ever, right? Because you can't. It's not possible. Investing is a game that you have to be in the market for a while. But
Mhm.
if you do have a goal which is 3 to 6 months down the line, it is
Mhm.
important to start planning from now.
Mhm.
And if your goal, and there are certain specific investment tools vehicles that you invest in for your short term goals, and there are certain ones which are like for your long term goals. So
Mhm.
basis your situation, basis your age, basis your risk appetite,
Mhm.
that whole mix together, a financial advisor will be able to tell you where to put your money, how to put your
Mhm.
money to get to reach your goals. If you have a
Mhm.
short goal, they will plan it according to that. If you
Mhm.
have a long term goal, they will plan it according to that. Okay, that you do not need this money for at least 5 to 6 years, 7 years. Let's put it in XYZ investment. Let's put it in stocks. Let's put it in some mutual funds which have a longer, uh, lock-in period. But if you have
Mhm.
something like, if you're looking for short term, there are also certain funds, like ETFs or debt funds which you can actually put in your money for something a little more quicker, for quicker returns. But that
Mhm.
is very case to case basis. It is not something that I would be at a position to, it's not a one size fits all um,
Mhm.
situation. It really depends on what is your income, what is your spending, what is your risk appetite, your age, all of that. So you need to
Got it.
have a good mix. Yeah.
Mhm. So, based on the pandemic, I just want to know, do you think a lot of us have had planned for that emergency fund? If, I think even in your post, one of the basic things that you need to ensure as you lay the foundation is that your 6 months or
Yeah.
your 3 months at least you need to have that. What do you think has been the trend so far? Or
I feel like a lot of people who have started out don't have too much of savings, but that could be very relative to the people I know.
Mm,
It's difficult to sort of gauge as to what everyone's situation is, but the kind of people who've reached out to me, who've reached out to our
mm,
advisors, a lot of them have actually said that, I don't have any savings. I have
mm,
salary coming in, and now I want to start investing. The pandemic has been hard for a lot of people, and that's why,
mm,
in fact, people are starting. The stock markets are the ones that people are the only way to make money, some kind of money right now, if you have the expertise.
mhm,
Um, but yes, it is very important to have an emergency fund, but it
mhm,
also takes a while to build. It can't
mm,
happen. Right? You need to be saving consistently for a couple of months to start ensure that, okay, now the my bank balance reads that I have money for at least 3 months if I don't have a job, and I can pay
mm,
my absolute necessities. But
mm,
maybe during the pandemic, because if you haven't done your financial planning properly, if you haven't managed your money well, you are going to be in trouble.
mm. Yeah, that's true. So I think a lot of us have this. So your first company, what was it about? You
It
were
was a
you were doing
PR.
PR
I've been doing
company itself,
PR for
right?
about 7 years. Yeah.
Amazing. So, I mean, what currently you're working on a job, and you had you were an entrepreneur before, right? So, what has been like? Which one do you prefer, or like, are you still wanting to start something on your own again?
There are pros and cons, but I genuinely feel like I have grown more as a person. I know everybody says the opposite, that you will grow more when you have your own company and you're an entrepreneur and all of that. But I've done that for 5 years. But I thought that for me to take that next big step, I needed
Mm-hmm.
to get into a company that really caters to like the best clients or the best companies in the world. And right now, the kind of companies that I've been working with cater to some of the biggest companies, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the kind of work I love to do, and I have been doing so far. Having
Mm-hmm.
said that, having my own company was a joy of its own. It was that personal satisfaction of making your money. It was always in profits. It was managing employees, also just sometimes writing those checks to those employees and seeing their faces, like that they've got the money, was also another level of satisfaction. But at that point I thought my growth was stunting, because to
Mm-hmm.
reach from a boutique small agency to a
Mm-hmm.
massive MNC, kind of work that you do is very, very different. The
Mm-hmm.
exposure that you get is very different. So I think they both have pros and cons. But
Mm-hmm.
right now I'm loving what I'm doing, because I'm a little entrepreneur on the side with Miss Piggy Banks, and I also have my job. So I think it's the best of both worlds right now.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Really happy to hear that, because sometimes when you keep hearing all of these news, you feel that maybe taking up a job makes you a little less cooler, and
Yeah.
people always who are like, no, having your own company is amazing. But what you meant is right. Like, you get the right exposure at both of these ventures gave you different exposures to
Different
different.
exposure, yeah. Different exposure for sure, yeah. But I
Right.
think it's been amazing. I think the journey has been great so far, and I have no complaints.
Amazing, amazing. So I always ask this to my guests before we end it. Like, if there was anybody who wanted to start a business, or like currently in terms of the topic that we're discussing, in terms of once they start the business, about their finances. Like, if you had to share anything to our listeners in as 2 cents of your advice, what would that be?
If you're to start a business, it's not as glorious and as shiny as everyone thinks, or as cool as everyone thinks being an entrepreneur is. It's the absolute opposite. You are doing everything. You are the CEO, and you are also the admin, and you're also the HR, and you're everything in the company. You have to do everything. There is nothing like logging off at a specific time.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, but I also think that you reap the benefits of it, because when you see your face, in the newspaper, or if you see your work getting, appreciated somewhere, then that level of satisfaction is also amazing, because that's your baby, and
Mm,
all your hard work has finally paid off. So I don't feel like, don't get scared to fail. Don't, because if you don't, you won't realize that you need to work harder to reach your goal.
mm,
And don't always wait for things to be absolutely perfect. They will never
mm.
be. Go with your gut, and yeah,
Amazing.
I guess that's about it.
Somehow this question always brings me the best answers, and thank you so much for sharing that. That is like you've mentioned all. I mean, you were really honest, and thank you so much. Wishing you all the best, and I
Thank
hope to
you
see
so much.
your
Thank you so much for having.
courses. I do let us know when your courses are live. I'll definitely share the links to all of your
Definitely,
upcoming courses to our
definitely,
links.
definitely.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. It was amazing talking to you.
same here, same here. Thank you. We'll stay in touch.
That done. Thanks. Bye.
Bye, bye, bye.
Bye.
That's it for today. Hope you liked it. If you enjoyed this episode, do share it with your friends. And don't forget to hit follow on Spotify and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Stay tuned for more episodes and stay safe.